Hey universe. 11:29 here on the 26th of August. Wow. Going for the hat trick. But glory aside, especially blades of glory, defer that I will. For you can't take credit for scoring on goals where your eyes were closed and they clicked off your skate into the net. Yeah, you may have been in the right place at the right time, but pretty much no productive effort on your part was consequential in determining what resulted. You just were the clown in the suit getting the appropriate kick in the goal laugh. And then you did it again. So the third time, could you at least coherently explain why you keep kicking people in the goals? Yeah, I think this is a good program here. Let's wane from the so faithful fusion fantasy of frequent. Well, fellatio is the word that came to mind, but how are you going to work that into that sentence? You're just not. It's not even appropriate. So instead of going down an inappropriate road for alliteration's sake, let's just fizz on over to this can of worms and talk about what it's like to have to reorganize your thinking, even though you were pretty sure your thinking was actually okay on this. Like things like the Big Bang, right? You can't really reconcile the Big Bang being wrong. That's a turd bowl that I don't want to swim in because it just throws askew too many other of the footholds upon which you've been coming to grips with reality as you know it and experience it in this 3D space and time. Even all the belching that's coming from where? I don't even know. Because I haven't opened up this watermelon sandia sweet soda. Maybe I won't. But if I do, don't hold it against me. If we're going to talk about what it is that I thought we would all be on board with creating a library of what it is we know so far, what it is we're trying to figure out, people working on the problems and their progress therein, and then any available conundrums to put time toward if one is so inclined to help humanity move forward in our base of what we do and do not know. Why don't we have a rebuilt Library of Alexandria? Where is it? The Library of Congress? Bullshit. Limited access. I want public access to the public information of the public database of what we've learned historically throughout time and experience in our cross-globally now referenceable acquisition of knowledge and understanding. Can we create that? Yes, obviously we can. So let's do it. Okay, that's what I thought everyone should be on board for. Because why wouldn't we have that? Well, that's when I said the internet was somewhat giving us that until the internet became too divulgent of cross-referencing facts that became clear obstacles for entrenched dogma to overcome without at least answering the questions. So they erased those things. So they truncated the internet. They censored it to keep us from accumulating enough facts to say these facts, when you accumulate them in this way, like a fucking moron would, but accumulate them I did, and look what they point to. We're wrong about all of that. Well, if you want to go down that road, if you want to call out the liars for the most basic lies, how far down do you have to go? What's the most basic lie? Where is the point in history that you start with to say, okay, we lied about that. Was the information directly before it correct? walk yourself down that rabbit hole. I'm not going to take you there because it isn't a conversation that you're going to have with anything but your own inner self. To realize that the backbone of pretty much all of what you've been told is slippery. And if it's not slippery, it's outright facetious. So, how much of that do you want to then attribute to folly and fanfare, frankly? The proclivity to fucking make it work, as it were. Okay, man, you busted us, but fucking slow your roll. We don't really have the story, so if you're going to come in here and tell us this isn't the story, do you have the story? Well, then fuck off, says the paradigm in place. Correctly, I might add. They should be not just defensive, but on the mandate for a full replica of what it is that they can answer if you want to try to upend their definitions and lack of answers as a place they suffer weakness and vulnerability. Well, being able to answer one or two things they can't answer is like saying, yeah, I took this history class on Germany and learned about this tank that, I don't know, was named after a panther. But anyway, the Germans were cool. I think cooler than we know. Because they had panthers in their tanks. Were they in the fucking tanks or in the gasoline? Was it that panther? Is there a panther? Oh, is that whole commercial? Man, a lot of things just came together for me. Glad I took this history class. This is good. Well, if a tiger in your tank is what you're thinking of, then you're probably as old as me. Damn, why does that lighter work? And you're trying to light your bong with a lighter that won't work. But for the younger crowd who's over there vaping it, well, having a little bit of knowledge, even accurate knowledge, if it's not well grounded in enough of the framework of what truly was the situational experience of the time, can feel shaky, irrelevant, unconnectable, thus, frankly, of much less value than perhaps a cooperative and somewhat supportive triangulation of information would provide. So you go looking through history for the undeniables. Well, I mean, it's hard to deny this, and this happened when 50 ways in history it's been described as going down. You gotta think, okay, this probably did happen. You probably didn't fake World War II, right? I mean, let's say that would be shockingly. It's not even possible. But the level of trickery that you have to endure to baseline even that it's not possible that we faked World War II. Okay, that's good. I'm glad that we didn't fake World War II. Well, actually, in retrospect, with as many people as died, especially from starvation as civilians in Asia, I wish we had faked that war. But unfortunately, that one looks like it really happened. And that looks like the real linchpin of suffering that the 20th century thrust upon an unnecessary populace of, what, indifference, unpreparedness, distractedness, carrot-stickingness. What is it that allows us as a citizenry, a humanity, to participate in a leadership narrative woven strictly to bring us to brunt against one another in a war of faceless aggression against enemies we don't have? Why do we tolerate this behavior so regularly, so ritualistically, and so predictably? Worldwide, government independent, populace unique. We rile up like, I don't know, badgers? Do badgers rile up like this? Do they get all torn up about shit that they see on propaganda signs that don't even mean anything about the populace that they've never experienced hand to hand? Seems like badgers have more sense than that, right? Boss. So you figure you're susceptible to the manipulation to work against your best, because it's easy to think that your best is more than you have to give, because the world asks too much of everybody. By the time you've ponied up for the obligations, the should-haves, the need-tos, the whatever else's, what's left is minimal. And what's there is, frankly, yours to what? Caress, handle appropriately, treasure, make the most of, find life's purpose within. Whatever is left that is truly yours to decide, to move forward through, and to act on as you would, unencumbered by any of society or civilization's expectations and restraints. That is a long qualifier that I don't recommend you use at parties. But when you've gone that far into thinking through what's left, it is treasure. It is little bits. It is this motioning of myself toward myself, for myself, that is the one time that myself feels complete as myself, instead of faking it throughout the rest of the time when I know I'm not myself. But fortunately, if you drop the right concentrate while it's got its lid off, it just sticks to the bottom and falls to the carpet unaffected. Yay! So, having had a little win, needing one, frankly not concentrate, but the wins there have been magnanimous. No, needing a win and just, I don't know, this week's been tough. Shit's not going right. And either I'm forcing it or I'm not showing up. Can't tell which. Nothing worse than knowing if you're calling in sick too much or asking to work overtime too much. The fuck, world? That's swinging me from one jungle vine to the next and just give me some reactionary truth that I can live with. And I'll try to work with you. But put me to test after test where I just don't know what I'm being tested for. Well, you make me want to aggravate my cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome. Consider it aggravated. Right, kitty? Meow. So you know you're a dupe. Or at least you have to admit that you're prone to more duping than you knew. In fact, I think you graze toward duping because it's so much more comfortable to just roll with what the group is doing, what the group's up to, how it's going over there, what they've got decided. Yeah, well, for the most part, I agree with their team when I see them in other places, so you can't tell me they're full of shit. They're the real deal, buddy. So if they've got an opinion that says blankety blank, don't tell me I haven't done my job. When I've decided, I'll go with them. They work for me. Yeah, I know. And appealing to authority is such my weakness. So don't try to show me that you think you're better at it than I am. You're not. But we all do it way too much. We think just because this group has been truth-telling at times when I've needed to hear some truth, that they must be truth-telling now. That is not doing your due diligence. Make sure they're still telling the truth. Make sure you still see them as the honorable faction they've been, and make sure that you haven't been duped in a capacity that's bigger than you know. Now, you are responsible. Intake of information, instead of somebody who is just relying upon same old to get you through tomorrow and the next day. That chase can lead you to isolated moments of unsuredness, all kinds of misgivings. But it's a value. It has to be done, and if you haven't done it, well then you're way behind. So once you've gotten past that narrative of, okay, thought I knew a lot more than I think I can trust, you look for that which you can trust. Who's out there telling the truth? What Kim Iversons are there that are worth a shit in this world? Well, there's one. Is there another? I don't know. There's at least her. But you got to find them, right? You can't just wander through something that isn't of connected purpose. There has to be somebody out there that's trustworthy. I don't know. That's a challenging journey for all of us to take. We are all susceptible to and encouraged by signals that are working against us. Navigate that path, figure it out, and come clean. Be willing to admit that you got duped. So what? The dupers are good at what they do. There is no shame in figuring out that you have been had by those who are in the game to find out how much of you they can take. They're not to be underestimated, so don't feel shame, don't feel guilt, don't feel anything. Just ferret it out. Know that you've come to a platform on which you feel comfortably footed and firmly footed, not just coincidentally, crowdedly footed with this group. And then, lastly, challenge the access to information you've always considered that which you find enough. Is it? Are you in a place where you are confident that your stories are supportive across a broad swath? That there aren't coincidental and corroborating holes that can, if inspected with the sort of inquisition it takes to look 15 minutes in an online depth search, can you find ways to unwind that which you always found to be absolute? Google 15 reasons the Big Bang is in trouble. See if that doesn't unwind a little of your confidence. Ask yourself, how did those marks get made? Those tubular drill marks in that granite stone back in way back time. How'd they do that? How'd they do it so precisely, so finely? And how they do it with tubular marks that represent rotary motion. Well, you know, there are so many places on which to start to think through how am I? No. How am I overconfident, overly secure, and overly peppered with reinforcement that this is a narrative that has strong footing and needs not be questioned? Find 5 of those, and then securely foot yourself in all 5. I'll bet at least one of them leaves you feeling unsure of yourself, and thus unsure of what you know. That's the beginning of admitting that you need help learning and relearning what it is that you've been duped. It's not shameful. Really, it's not even disappointing. Knowing the truth is so much better than believing something that's wrong. It took me 50 years to truly figure that out. Please tell me it's taking you less time, for it is a journey that all of us, I think, at some point come clean on. But maybe none of us were such cheerleaders and blindfold allegiance, singing praises of this country and our greatness, and by deserved thus placement within. Oh, bullshit. White male American? You're like a bulletin board, just waiting to be slathered with some slogan of irrelevant and ultimately disappointing informational regurgitation for someone else's purpose. I'm the ultimate dupe, and I know it. But not very dupeable anymore. Dupable? I'm harder to dupe than ever. Or, what else could you say? You are someone less prone to duping than previously? Nope. Just somebody who at least feels like you can't run things past me without me at least thinking, I'm going to check that out. And in doing so, I'm going to hold you accountable. I expect the same. Why wouldn't I? But God damn it, I'm expecting it now of you, of all of you. Let's hold them accountable. Accountability and truth will ferret out all of the issues. It really is that simple.